Hi everyone, my name is Shade Hannum and I'll be your instructor for this course, which is Philosophy 105, Introduction to Ethics. I'm a PhD graduate student here at Arizona State. I also have a master's in philosophy from Colorado State University, and I work primarily in social epistemology and applied ethics. So teaching an ethics course is exciting for me. This is an area that I am really interested in. It's an area that sort of got me interested in philosophy. So if you want to chat about any of these topics or any topic really related to philosophy, please get in touch. I'm happy to do that. So this course is about 6 weeks long. We're going to cover 5 modules. We'll be moving pretty quickly, so please make sure you're checking your email and checking Canvas regularly for any updates and announcements related to the course. Okay, so the goals for this class, the goals are very simple. I want you to leave with a basic understanding of the 3 main theoretical camps within the study of ethics, and also have a sense of how to apply these theories to issues in your own life, issues in your own circle of concern. So I basically want you to have a sort of framework for thinking about these ethical issues. Okay, so what is ethics is a good question to answer in the intro here. So in general, we can understand ethics as a branch of philosophy that deals with moral concepts, ideas such as right, wrong, good, bad, questions like what are our duties, what are our duties to other people, what are our responsibilities, what are our rights, what sort of demands can we make of others, things like that. And, just questions related to how do we treat each other are all moral and ethical questions. So ethics as a study within philosophy deals with analyzing these concepts and seeks to offer guiding principles for good conduct or right action, and otherwise basically guiding principles for moral decision making. In other words, ethics deals with questions related to many of the decisions that we make on a daily basis. And it also deals with the sorts of values that we assign to these decisions. How much do they matter? Why do they matter? So in some sense, we might consider ethics the study of values in our lives. It's and many would argue, it is the most important kind of values that we have in our lives, are ethical values. So we in this course are going to focus on normative ethics. So in normative ethics, the main focus is on moral principles, which are taken to be, like I said, guidelines for right conduct. And normative ethics is sort of in contrast, or I guess the other sort of branch that people really study is meta-ethics. Meta-ethics is concerned with, in some sense, the nature of ethical principles, whether they are objective in nature or subjective in nature, whether they are constructed through social practices or in some other manner, or whether they are tracking natural kinds. And so meta-ethical questions, if you continue to study philosophy, you'll probably be asked to take a course that covers meta-ethics. But in this class, and in pretty much all intro to ethics class, the main focus is going to be on normative ethics, which again is concerned with moral principles. Okay, so what's a moral principle? A very common one that's really often cited, one that I'm sure many of you have heard, is just called the Golden Rule, which says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And this is a good example of a moral principle because it's a guide for action. And it's also very general. It applies very broadly. Okay, so what are some features of moral principles? And we sort of mentioned a few talking about the Golden Rule, but I'm going to talk about 5 that a Louis Pojman, who's a philosopher of ethics, sort of lays out. And they are these. 1, a moral principle should be prescriptive. So they should tell us what to do. They should prescribe a certain course of action. 2, they should be universalizable, meaning they should apply very broadly. And so for what is right for one person to do is also right for another person in a relevantly similar situation to do. 3, they should be overriding, meaning that they should take precedence over many other kinds of considerations. For example, perhaps like aesthetic considerations or things like that. And 4, they should be made public. So if you have access to all the right moral principles, it doesn't make any sense for you to just keep them to yourself because you want them to be guides for people navigating the social world. And so it just, for practical reasons, they should be made public. And finally, 5, they should be practical, meaning that they should be useful. They should be help create a workable moral system, meaning that it shouldn't make demands that people can't meet. It has to take human limitations into considerations and be actually guiding. Okay, so as I mentioned, we have a very short time for this class. These summer courses go very quickly, and it is also an introductory course. So because of this, there's going to be a lot of material related to the study of ethics that we won't touch on because we don't have time. And so if you have any questions about any particular topics, any particular issues, or you have interest in areas related to ethics that we don't cover, please reach out to me via email because I love to talk about this stuff. This is the kind of things that I'm very interested in. So I'll be happy to either chat via Zoom or offer further resources for study or point you in the direction of someone who knows more about what you're wondering about than I do, if I can. So like I said, please reach out via email. We're going to do our best to cover like the real basics, things that if you continue in philosophy, you're going to hear more and more about, but we won't have time to cover as much as I would like. Okay, so a brief note on the readings. They will all be made available for free on Canvas. You will find links to the readings for each module in that module in the learning materials section. And I may also throw on some supplemental readings that you're also, welcome to access. But and this is because I know textbooks are very expensive. I have also personally found it very useful sometimes to have like a sort of anthology or a textbook on a certain subject. So if for some reason you're interested in recommendations for sort of more comprehensive ethical primers, please reach out to me. I know of several really wonderful ones, and I'm happy to recommend those. But for this course, everything's going to be free and online because that just is nice not to have to spend money. Okay, so the assignments for this course, I'm going to give you a brief rundown of those and sort of what they're supposed to achieve. There's going to be 2 main assignments that are going to be due almost every module, and that is the short papers and the discussion posts. And the short papers are designed to help you really hone your analytical writing skills. These are going to be generally expository papers, meaning that they are about clearly and concisely explaining a primary argument or the objections that an author deals with. So you're going to have more instructions on these, but they are essentially to test your ability to, did you really understand the material in the reading? And 2, and maybe most importantly, can you present that information very clearly and concisely? Can you really clearly and concisely describe an author's argument and the main relevant features in a 300 to 500 word paper? And that's going to be, again, if you continue in philosophy, a very useful skill. The second are going to be the discussion posts. And the purpose of these posts is a little more creative. They're also to hone your critical skills. And these posts ask you to offer your own argument or your own critique of an argument that we've read. And this might involve raising objections that the author fails to consider, or pointing out flaws in an author's reasoning, offering counterexamples to their claim. Essentially, this is where I want to hear your thoughts, your reactions, and your ideas. This is also going to be a space where you can interact with your fellow students. So while doing the discussion post, you're going to be asked to make your own primary text post, and then you're going to be replying to other students' posts so that we can get something like a discussion going on Canvas. So another purpose of these 2 assignments is to prep you for your final paper, which is going to be it's going to count as your sort of final for this class. It's going to be worth a very large portion of your grade, and it's going to include some expository work and also some argumentative work. But in your final paper for this course, an ethics course, it's going to ask you to, once we've sort of learned several of these 3 main branches of ethical theory, you are going to be asked to examine a particular moral issue and argue for your own position on that issue with philosophical arguments relying on perhaps one of the theories that we have learned about. So there's going to be 2 drafts of this paper due. There's going to be a first draft, which I want you to submit a complete paper, not an outline, nothing like sketchy. And this is an opportunity for me to offer you good feedback so that you can make your final draft really, really nice, because like I said, it's going to count for a lot of your grade. This is going to count essentially as your final in this course. I'm going to offer more details on that later, so don't stress out about it now. But I just wanted to give you all a short outline of sort of the course structure, some of the rationale behind the assignments. Like I said, please reach out to me via email if you have any questions at any point in the course. Don't be shy. I am always happy to answer whatever I can via email, and then also set up a Zoom. It can be really nice when we're in this online format to get some face-to-face interaction and just sort of it can be a lot easier to answer questions that way. Okay, so now that you've watched this video, go ahead and your first task in the course is to create an intro post, just saying a little bit about who you are, why you're interested in the course, what brought you here. So go ahead and make those, and then I will look forward to having you on the course.